If you're looking for a compact soundbar for a small space and want to be a courteous condo dweller and not annoy your neighbors with thumping bass and want to have a simple one remote smart TV experience, then you definitely want to stay tuned for my review of the Roku Streambar. So when I went to Walmart and I picked up the box to purchase this soundbar, I was really shocked at how small the box was. And as soon as I unboxed it, I was really shocked at how small the actual Streambar was. Roku includes all the necessary cables you need, which is a huge bonus because sometimes when you buy these things, they don't give you all the cables. For example, you're going to get an optical cable if you just wish to use it as a Streambar with no smart features. You get a high-speed HDMI 2.0, which allows for 4K at 60 Hz, which is a very expensive cable in itself. And you get a very long power brick, and the power brick is embedded outside the Streambar, which makes the whole actual Streambar really small itself. Thanks to the long power bar, you have a lot of flexibility where you want to mount this or place this near your TV stand. Now in terms of the form factor, holding the soundbar in one hand, seeing how light it was and how compact it was mind-blowing. I'm extremely impressed with the build quality of this, and it just looks really cute and adorable. In my opinion, the Streambar's dark black design blends well into my entertainment system, giving a very cool aesthetic. One of the major benefits of having such a small soundbar is that it's going to fit in so many different situations, such as a small bedroom, a small condo, maybe an RV trailer, and you can even use this as a pair of speakers for your laptop or your PC using the optical in. If you do opt to use this on your computer and you don't have an optical out, you can simply just pair it with Bluetooth and you can listen to audio from any device. The lightweight compact design also makes it very portable in case you want to bring this to a party, for example. Now, one of my favorite things is eliminating that annoying, bulky subwoofer. If you look at the size of the Roku Streambar and compare that to the Samsung subwoofer, you can see that the subwoofer has a much bigger footprint than the entire Roku box itself, which is quite hilarious. Speaking of subwoofers, this leads me to my next topic, and that's about the sound profile of the Roku Streambar. Now, unfortunately, given the small size, the Roku Streambar is not going to shake your apartment, annoy your neighbors with heavy bass, which is a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. If you're expecting a thumping bass, then I highly suggest to look somewhere else for a soundbar, probably a 2.1 setup, because you'll be very disappointed with the Roku Streambar. The louder you increase the volume of the speakers, the more distorted the sound gets, unfortunately, in terms of the low ends. However, having said that, this speaker does extremely well in speech clarity on the mids and highs. The dialogue is crystal clear, and you definitely won't miss a word in Christopher Nolan's latest movie, Tenet, where music overpowers dialogue. You can even enable speech clarity mode, which makes dialogue even more crisp and easier to understand. As I mentioned before, the mids and highs are extremely clear and sound absolutely crisp, which helps the speaker perform quite well when playing music. And if you enable bass boost on the sound profile, which I do recommend if you're going to watch a movie, you will definitely, hands down, get a much more superior sound quality, sound experience on this speaker than any inbuilt TV speakers. I compared the Roku Streambar sound quality against several inbuilt TV speakers, such as those on a Toshiba Fire TV and an LG TV, and the difference was night and day. The inbuilt speakers came nowhere near close to the sound quality of those external speakers. Here's a sample comparison of inbuilt speakers versus the Roku Streambar. If you'd like to skip the test, use the timestamp links down below.
Forwards, come about starboard 90 degrees, drop us down under. Forwards, come about starboard 90 degrees, drop us down underneath it, so. Underneath them, so.
Destroy it too.
Fire torpedoes! Captain, they're locking torpedoes. Divert auxiliary power, report to cells to...
Destroy it too.
Fire torpedoes! Captain, they're locking torpedoes. Divert auxiliary power, report to cells to forward shield. Forward shield.
And please note, due to my recording equipment, YouTube compression, and perhaps the audio device you're listening to this video on, the sound you're hearing may sound differently in real life.
Yeah.
Evidently, there's going to be a trade-off for the smaller convenient size of the speaker. Due to the physical limitations and the lower wattage of the speaker's output, you're not going to get the best sound quality when at max volume. However, this is something to be expected and not a surprise at all. Now, aside from the space-saving aspect of this soundbar, chances are you're probably considering buying this Streambar for the Roku TV experience and, most importantly, its smart features. Maybe you're like me and you have a smart TV that's really old, so it's no longer really smart, it's quite dumb actually. Or perhaps you're just sick and tired of having to use the Chromecast, having to use your phone to control everything onto the TV, and maybe you want a dedicated remote experience. Well, I think the Roku TV experience is going to help a lot with that. Also, you might be considering the Roku Streambar for one of its unique standout features that isn't available on many competitors, and that's private listening. We're going to talk about that feature in great detail later in this video. Some reviewers have noted that the Roku operating system on this Streambar was laggy and slow, but happily for me, I found it rather snappy and responsive, especially in comparison to some of the other competitors like the Google Chromecast with Google TV. Overall, I found that the Roku operating system was slick and simple and just very easy to navigate around. I found it no slower or faster than some of the competitors out there of the similar price range. And it is using a quad-core processor to power the operating system to make it very fast, snappy, and also decoding 4K video experiences. And one thing I'm really happy about is that I'm very impressed with how the decoding works. I was able to slap on a USB external drive and load some very high-res, high bitrate videos, and it was easily able to decode H.264 and H.265 with no issues at all. And unlike Fire TV, which restricts your external storage to the FAT32 format, you can play video files greater than 4 gigabytes. So one of the most unique features that, as far as I know, is only available on the upper tier of Roku streaming devices is private listening. By the way, if there's a competitor out there that offers a similar type of feature, please let me know in the comments section down below. So I have to thank Roku for creating this feature because I live in a tiny apartment with paper-thin walls. My neighbors can hear everything I do, and sometimes I want to watch a loud action movie late at night. I want to be a courteous neighbor and not disturb my neighbors. Private listening is also extremely useful in shared family homes or shared living spaces like living rooms. If more than one person wants to watch a movie together, you can use an audio splitter or just multiple Bluetooth connections so you can watch a show together in the living room without disturbing anyone else that's working in that same room as you. Unfortunately, the included remote doesn't offer a headphone jack to easily connect wired headphones. This feature is offered in some of the more expensive Roku streaming devices. This can be a little annoying, especially if your smartphone doesn't have a headphone jack. Fortunately, once you have a USB to headphone jack adapter, enabling private listening is a super fast and simple process that you can do from this Roku smartphone app. Now you might be saying, why are you complaining about a headphone jack? It's 2020, can't you just pair it with Bluetooth headphones? Sadly, when using Bluetooth headphones, there's quite a perceptible lag between audio and video. It makes it very hard to enjoy movies, and I'm not 100% sure if the Bluetooth lag is attributed to the Bluetooth headphones that I'm using or something inherent in the Roku private listening feature. The Roku Streambar needs to quickly send that audio feed via Wi-Fi to your device, and that adds some lag. Bluetooth probably makes it much worse. In some apps like Amazon Prime, I notice lag even when using wired headphones, so the private listening feature can be hit or miss depending on the app or content you're watching. Also, something to be really mindful about, especially if you're going to be using a 2.4 GHz network on your Roku or phone, is that there's going to be a lot of audio degradation and interruptions. Switching to a 5 GHz network eliminated all the sound corruption and lag, thankfully. I kind of wish that Roku made it super clear to the user that using a 5 GHz network is extremely important for this feature to work. Despite the flaws of private listening, it's still a very cool feature and it's very helpful, especially if it works. And please let me know in the comments down below how your mileage was with private listening. Did you have any Bluetooth audio lag? Were you having lag even on a wired headphones? Or was it only in certain apps and types of content you were watching? Hey Google, turn on the Roku.
Got it. Turning the living room Roku on.
The next smart feature that I was extremely excited to have on my Roku Streambar was the Google Assistant integration. I'm heavily invested into Google's ecosystem. I have multiple smart displays and speakers, so the thought of asking the Google Assistant to turn on my TV, open YouTube, and start playing a specific video that I said was something that I was really looking forward to. Unfortunately, this seamless, remoteless, hands-free experience I had imagined did not come to fruition. The Roku command list is limited, and I had to say multiple commands to first turn on the TV, then open the YouTube app. Then I had to pick up the remote and then use the inbuilt mic to actually search within that app, since Google Assistant integration does not work on third-party apps. Even though the set of commands on the voice assistant is very limited, I'm still extremely thankful that I can do things like turn on the TV, lower the volume, and other basic commands that just add a lot of convenience and value to your life. Hey Google, pause Roku. But don't expect 100% integration with all the third-party apps. Now with the remote control, you can speak directly into it for a more powerful set of commands. Speaking directly into the remote and searching for content was available on third-party apps and made my whole TV experience more convenient. Search Mark Wiens on YouTube app. But I just wish that I could do this also from my smart speakers. Also, side note, I really wish I could use my voice to speak into text. Using a directional pad is so annoying, especially when I have to enter a long piece of text. There's so many instances where you have to maybe enter something like this or something like that, and just being able to have voice to text input would have been a lot more appreciated. So you wouldn't be fully controlling your TV through your voice on the Google Assistant. You'll still have to reach the remote and maybe speak to it sometimes, or maybe just use it manually. Now, I don't know about you, but I always lose my remote, or it's just very hard to reach for it. I always have my smartphone in my pocket, so thankfully, the Roku smartphone app is also another way you can directly interface with your TV without having to reach a remote. Now, to fully enjoy a simplified one remote smart TV experience, so that you can power on your TV, adjust the volume, you'll need to plug the Streambar directly into the ARC or ARC HDMI port on your TV. ARC or ARC stands for Audio Return Channel, and it's a special HDMI port that sends back TV audio to your soundbar. This means you can have another device connected to your TV through HDMI like a Chromecast or an Xbox, and that audio will come out from the soundbar, which is very convenient. The disappointing part is that you can't make the Roku change the input source on your TV, which forces you to use your own TV remote. This means that you don't have a truly simplified one remote TV experience, which is very unfortunate. You also have to make sure their TV has CEC enabled to power the TV on and off. In my case, my 6-year-old LG TV only had issues powering off the device using voice. I was able to turn off the TV using the button on the remote, but never through software, voice, or the Google Assistant. Hey Google, turn off Roku.
Sure, turning off the living room Roku.
Hey Google, turn off Roku. So depending on your TV support for CEC, your mileage may vary when trying to control your TV's functions through the Roku remote. Another important topic I want to cover is my experience playing my own custom media content. Let's say you have a network attached storage, or NAS for short, with your own large media library of video content. How easy is it to watch your own content on the Roku operating system? Well, thankfully, the official Roku media player makes it super simple to play 4K high-res bitrate content on your external flash USB drive. The Roku media player also makes it very easy to connect directly to a DLNA media server, such as the one hosted on my very old Western Digital MyCloud network attached storage. Now, I'm not a fan of the DLNA media server protocol. I much prefer SMB or NFS, which are protocols that make it way simpler and more easy to directly access the files as you would on a computer. Unfortunately, since you can't sideload apps like Kodi, accessing your external storage with SMB or NFS is not possible, which is a major bummer. You're forced to use an app like Plex, and you need a Plex server, and unfortunately, my old network attached storage does not support Plex. We'll talk about the lack of Kodi support later in this video. So all in all, accessing your own content is possible, albeit not as good as some of the other options out there. One of the features that really sets this soundbar apart from all the other soundbars is the various listening modes. So in addition to private listening, Roku has created a Streambar that is very thoughtful for those who live in a shared living space like skybox condos, apartments with terrible noise transmission, and of course, family homes. The Roku interface has made it really simple to toggle night mode, which prevents crazy loud explosions from waking up your neighbors or families. I tested this feature on things like gunshots and explosions, and I'm so glad it works. I hate it when a movie audio track varies so much in volume. It also offers a leveling mode, which is similar to night mode, but focuses more on smoothing out the decibel disparities rather than capping the max volume. Other audio enhancement features include speech clarity, which has a setting of low and high. This really does work, but I don't think you need it often, since these speakers handle mids and highs so well, which really helps with vocal clarity. There's also an option to reduce bass or completely eliminate low frequencies. This is especially helpful as bass can easily penetrate through concrete walls and annoy adjacent neighbors in condos or apartments. What's awesome is that all these features can easily be accessed anytime with the start button on the remote, so you don't have to dig into a bunch of menu settings and toggle the feature on and off. I have to give major kudos to Roku for making such a thoughtful product that accommodates our modern way of living in such tightly packed dense spaces. So me coming from competitors like Amazon's Fire Stick or Google's Android TV and Chromecast, let's talk about two major features that are missing in the Roku Streambar or any Roku streaming device for that matter. The first, somewhat missing and lacking feature is a reliable and easy casting experience. Sometimes content you want to watch on the big screen is more accessible from your phone or your computer rather than using the apps directly on the Roku interface. In a pinch, being able to cast anything reliably from your phone or computer is extremely helpful, especially when you have esoteric content to watch on the big screen. Now, yes, casting or screen mirroring is supported on Roku devices, but I didn't find the experience to be as smooth and seamless as Chromecast. For example, I was not able to cast successfully from my Windows 10 machine. Streaming from my Android phone wasn't too bad, but I had to do the extra step of adjusting my display aspect ratio, and it did lag a lot more than Google Chromecast. Now, the area I had the most trouble was with Windows 10. Windows 10 uses a native solution called Miracast, and I found it to be extremely laggy and very hard to set up because I was using an Ethernet wired connection and I was forced to switch to a Wi-Fi network. Worst of all, it resized my computer screen and it was totally unwatchable due to the lag and artifacts on the video. Now, if you have a Mac or you don't want to use the PC Miracast, you have to install an unofficial Roku Chromecast app, and having to install this unofficial Chromecast extension was pretty difficult and not very user-friendly because you had to build the source code and then you had to sideload the Chrome extension app. After all these complicated steps, I was finally able to cast an HTML5 video from the browser. With the Google Chromecast, casting from a computer or phone was literally one click of a button, and it did not suffer from any poor performance. Hence, this is the reason why I think Roku casting support is very limited. In the end, you might have to keep your $30 Chromecast on deck just in case. Now let's talk about the second feature that I think is really the big issue here, and it's the lack of Kodi support. This is a really big issue, and coming from the Chromecast of Google TV or Fire Stick, which actually support Kodi, it really sucks to not have it on the Roku Smart TV sound system. For those who don't know what Kodi is or what it's capable of, allow me to quickly explain. Kodi is like another TV operating system embedded inside your TV. It opens all kinds of doors, like being able to access network attack storage more easily than a Plex server or a DLNA media server. You can even add a VPN service. It supports all kinds of apps and gives you access to virtually an infinite amount of content. It's definitely more of a power users feature, but I think it's a huge shame given Roku's closed garden prevents an app like this being installed on the Roku operating system. This is such a blow to me. If this soundbar didn't have amazing features like a compact design, awesome sound profile, and private listening, I'd probably return it for not having Kodi support. You might be wondering to yourself, why not just get the Chromecast of Google TV and just get a basic dumb soundbar? Well, I probably could. And that experience is going to be really annoying because I have to switch between HDMI inputs and I'm going to have two remotes. In conclusion, I have to say that this is without a doubt a major improvement to the terrible speakers that come built into your TV. This will definitely enhance your cinematic experience and help you enjoy music day to day. I think one of the main reasons for getting this speaker is its unparalleled compact side. I think it's one of the smallest soundbars on the market that offer decent sound. However, if you're expecting booming bass and really loud sound in it to fill up your entire house, you might want to look elsewhere. Maybe a 100-watt sound system, a 2.1 sound speaker with a dedicated subwoofer is likely the route you want to go. What's also amazing about the smart capabilities of this Streambar is that it simplifies your entire setup, so you just have one remote, so it just makes it very simple. And additionally, it's going to give you all the smart features, the Roku TV experience, that you would have to buy separately otherwise. Unfortunately, with the Roku Streambar, we can't have it all. The lack of Kodi support, the janky private listening feature prevents this soundbar from getting a perfect score in my books. But its overall set of smart features like voice clarity, night mode, still make this a compelling soundbar option for those in shared living spaces. This is why I still recommend this soundbar despite some of the major shortcomings. Anyways, that's it about the Roku Streambar. I really hope you enjoyed this video review. Please let me know what you guys think about this soundbar. Leave a comment down below and definitely like and subscribe if you want to see more tech related content. I will see you in the next video.